hanging on here until I'm gone, right where I belong, just hanging on.
The tiny lifeboat drifts through space at half the speed of light. The last survivor of the USS February watches as a small blue dot grows larger in the forward viewport. Still, it has taken weeks to travel the distance. If it were not thoughts of a wife and a beautiful daughter, madness would have prevailed. We were heralded as heroes, and all of mankind bid us farewell when we were shot into the emptiness of space 254 days ago. The 20 of us from all nations were ambassadors of humanity with a message of peace and goodwill.
Even though
An answer
watched you come and go,
that called out from the void.
how was I to know you'd steal the show?
A transmission coming from somewhere past Mars and within the asteroid belt. It came from a small dwarf planet, now glowing in the dark. The lights of Sirius brightened in anticipation.
One day I'll have enough to get
I left my wife and little girl.
I'll wait to hear your final call.
To make them proud. Humanity would never be the same again. We were wrong. We were so wrong. We don't belong out here.
Hanging on
We found the signal source
here until I'm gone,
under the planet's crust.
right where I belong,
Humanoids,
just hanging on.
a settlement, a colony, long dead and gone.
Even though
It was tens of thousands of years old,
past this time alone,
frozen in ice.
somewhere so unknown, it heals the soul.
The remnants of a society dead for centuries. There was no one here alive who could have sent that message. A small portion of the alien site was exposed and free from ice. Recent seismic activity and hot gases from the planetoid's core melted away a section, allowing entry to explore. We donned our pressure suits and anxiously made our way into the depths of the cavern. We would be the first to lay eyes on the remains of an alien culture. They weren't much different from us. They were an artistic people and adorned the walls and buildings with pictures and imagery from a strange and faraway homeworld. They looked so much like us. What we found frozen in the ground was not like us. Through the surface of the ice, we could see a shape. It was fleshy and looked as if 3 to 4 bodies were merged into one. Each of its limbs were contorted and deformed. Arms were long and bent at odd and abnormal angles. Teeth protruded from mouths that did not belong. Pupils from eyes that shouldn't be there stared back at us. It was a mockery to the harmony of nature. It was an abomination towards the symmetry and beauty of life. The cavern was unstable. The only relic within reach was this thing frozen in the ice. With plasma torches in hand, we raced to get it cut from out of the ground and back to the February. With our payloads safely stowed aboard, we prepared for our journey home. Maybe it was our cutting, or the ship landing on the crater's surface, or a combination of both. But the foundation below the crater began to collapse with the cavern. We barely managed to lift off. We were so busy congratulating ourselves on our narrow escape that we never bothered to check in on our cargo. It had begun to thaw. What we unleashed was malicious and cruel, and it had only one goal: to consume us and make us part of it. It picked us off one by one in secret. It absorbed its victim, mimicking them in every way. Paranoia overcame us. No one could be trusted. Every part of this thing, all the way down to the cellular level, was sentient and could infect a viable host. The larger organisms would attack with a primal rage and capture its prey, absorbing them alive and still struggling. The smaller particulates of the creature would hide within the body. It secretly absorbed and devoured the flesh and tissue from within, unaware to the host. It would only reveal itself if threatened or given an opportunity to propagate itself. It emerged in an explosion of flesh, blood, tentacles, and tendrils, and teeth and claws. In less than 24 hours, there were only 6 of us left. We cowered on the bridge in despair. We knew it was only a matter of time before it overcame us. We knew what we had to do. We knew we could never return home. Interstellar navigation is computer controlled, and we were locked into a course for Earth. In 2 hours, the ship's main computer would be performing a course correction to avoid one of the many uncharted asteroids in this sector. If an overload occurred in 3 of the auxiliary power distribution nodes, the central computer would crash, taking down the ship's navigational controls. In the time it would take for a full system reboot, the window for a course adjustment would have passed, and 30 minutes later, we would impact into the asteroid's surface, traveling at 24,000 miles per hour. I prepared to climb down the air shaft and enter the narrow maintenance duct that led to the secondary airlock junction. From there, I could access a service point into the computer's secondary cooling unit and blow the power nodes. I prepared to climb down the shaft, where I would squeeze into the claustrophobic passageway, barely wider than the width of my shoulders. A crash from overhead sounded, and the bridge went dark. Backup lights flashed from emergency strobes that illuminated a massive formless shape in brief glimpses between bursts of light and dark. The thing was covered with thin, worm-like tendrils that shook with a seizure-like intensity. The tendrils shot out from its body, piercing everyone within its range. A tendril punctured the back of the captain's head with incredible force, spraying me with her blood. It emerged from her forehead and branched out quickly, re-entering her flesh through her skin, eyes, and mouth. I sealed the service hatch, putting the as much distance between me and the screams of pain and agony behind me. Having disabled the power nodes, I made the decision. I didn't need to die here. It was just me, no one else who might have a monster hidden within their blood. It would be safe for me to take the escape shuttle and go home. I departed the February and watched it impact the asteroid in a magnificent flash of light. I caught sight of my reflection in the viewport glass and saw the blood on my face begin to pull together and disappear under my skin. Paralyzed by terror and realization of its deception, I waited for it to start feasting on its new flesh. I waited for the end. It never came. It screamed in my head, wanting to know what I was and how I was resisting its attempts to consume me. The truth was, I didn't know. Something about me was different and capable of hindering its ability to assimilate me. Yes, I could resist it, but I could not overcome it. I had severely weakened it, but slowly it began to overwhelm whatever unique gift I had that opposed it. The fingers on my right hand began to elongate, and slits appeared on my knuckles, with crimson irises peeking out from underneath. While I slept, it disabled the communication relay, preventing me from warning Antarctic Control about what I was carrying. While it slept, I disabled the ship's wireless receiver. It wanted to know why I had done this. I buried my secret deep in my mind and thought only of my wife Melissa and my daughter Kylie. It had complete control of my right side, and I had to restrain my right arm to my side with a belt strap to prevent it from attacking myself. A deformed mouth was forming on my stomach. Wet lips were emerging from my skin and separating from each other. Open sores with weeping faces of my crewmates screamed and let out the most frightening moans of anguish and torment from my body. Soon, the orbital docking station came into view, orbiting high above the Earth. This game of control between the two of us had come to its end. It surged in growth and influence over my body. It longed for the new flesh it was about to encounter. To its surprise and rage, I taunted it with the secret it was unable to scrape out of my mind. It was so focused on being mocked, it took no notice of the message flashing on the display. Communication error. Docking approach failure. Abort. Abort. By disabling the wireless receiver, remote docking was impossible. It would have to be done manually.
Even though I'm past this time alone, somewhere so unknown, it heals the soul. You ask for walls, I'll build them higher.
I created a mental barrier to keep it at bay.
Will light shadows of them all.
It clawed and beat at it, slowly tearing it down.
I'd stand, but they're much too tall.
distracted until it was too late. I took back control of my body, ignited the thrusters, and sent the ship into a nosedive into the Earth's atmosphere. The ship streaked across the sky, illuminating the night. In desperation, it ripped my skin and shattered my bones. The ground approached with frightening speed. The hull was engulfed in flames. The heat was searing and blistering. Oh, Melissa, you are my best friend and my soulmate. We were always meant to be with each other. Kylie, I'm sorry I won't be there to see you grow up. But if you look up and see a star burning in the dark, that will be me. I'm always with you. Daddy loves you.